My buddy Chris rescues stray dogs from the streets. He drives a beat-up Toyota, works as a teacher, and spent his weekends pulling ticks off mangy mutts. Last month, he married the most stunning woman I've ever met, a successful lawyer who could have had anyone. I'm going to show you the exact 3 character signals that make the dog test more predictive of romantic success than money, looks, or status. This isn't about buying a puppy to impress women. This is about what kindness to the powerless reveals about who you actually are. And if you stay until the end, I'll reveal the one trait that women say separates men they date from men they marry. Welcome back to Deeper Dudes. But first, let's talk about why so many guys completely misunderstand what actually attracts high-quality women. You think it's the car, the watch, the six-pack abs, and sure, those things might get attention. But research from the University of Michigan found that when women evaluate long-term partners, kindness and empathy ranked higher than physical attractiveness and financial success combined. Yet we're taught that nice guys finish last, that you need to be dominant and aloof. What a load of crap. So you spend years building a persona, and you wonder why the women you actually want aren't interested. Here's the truth nobody teaches us. Attraction isn't about what you display. It's about what you reveal when you think nobody's watching. And kindness to animals is one of the most powerful reveals that exists. I know because I've watched it play out dozens of times. I used to think my friend Chris was wasting his time with those rescue dogs. He'd cancel plans to drive 2 hours to pick up a dog someone found. He'd spend money he didn't have on vet bills. I thought he was being impractical. But when I met his now wife Sarah at a dinner party, she told me the story of how they met. She saw him at a coffee shop, trying to give water to a limping stray dog in the parking lot. He was late for a job interview. He missed it entirely because he took that dog to a vet. She said that moment told her everything she needed to know about his character. Not what he said about himself, not how he dressed or what he drove, how he treated a creature that could give him nothing in return. That's the dog test, and here's exactly how it works. Signal 1. Empathy under pressure. When you show kindness to an animal, especially when it's inconvenient, you're demonstrating that your empathy isn't performative. It's intrinsic. Psychologist Dr. Helen Fisher, who studies romantic attraction, found that women evaluate potential partners by watching how they treat service workers, children, and animals. These interactions reveal your default mode when there's no social benefit to being kind. Here's why this matters neurologically. Mirror neurons in the brain fire, both when we perform an action and when we observe someone else performing that action. When a woman sees you being gentle with a dog, her brain simulates that gentleness. She's literally feeling what it would be like to receive that care. This isn't conscious. It's hardwired. The application is simple, but most guys miss it entirely. This isn't about performing kindness when you know someone's watching. It's about genuinely developing empathy as a core trait. Here's the system. First, notice when you're dismissive of animal needs. Are you annoyed when a dog wants attention? Frustrated when a pet is inconvenient? That dismissiveness is visible. Second, practice perspective taking. When you see an animal, spend 5 seconds imagining its experience. That dog doesn't know why it's alone. That cat doesn't understand why it's hungry. This builds genuine empathy, not performance. Third, take one small action weekly that helps an animal with 0 social benefit. Feed a stray. Donate to a shelter. Volunteer where nobody you know will see. The goal isn't credit. It's becoming the kind of person who does this automatically. My friend Jake started volunteering at a shelter after a breakup. Not to meet women, but because he needed something that wasn't about him. 6 months later, he met his girlfriend there. She was also volunteering. She told me later that watching him calm down a terrified rescue dog was the moment she knew she wanted to date him. He wasn't trying to impress anyone, he was just being kind. That's the power of authentic empathy. And this leads directly into the second signal, which might be even more important. Before we go any further, I want to pause for something important. None of what we've been talking about matters if we don't have the energy and clarity to actually implement it. We all know what it feels like to wake up exhausted. No energy, poor focus, and zero motivation. We've all been there. We also know what it feels like when we get good, restful sleep, targeted therapy, and the right supplements. I've personally tested more things than you can imagine. I'm like your personal guinea pig. Everything in the description below is science-backed and extensively tested. And if you grab anything through my links, you'll be supporting this channel at zero cost to you. Thanks for taking a look. If this is helping, please hit that like button so more men can find this when they need it most. And drop a comment. Have you ever been on a date where how someone treated an animal changed your opinion of them? I want to hear your stories. Now let's get back to it. Here's where the dog test reveals something most dating advice completely ignores. Signal 2. Responsibility without recognition. When you care for an animal, you're signing up for responsibility that gives you nothing back. Dogs don't pay rent. Cats don't boost your status. And rescue animals often come with problems, medical bills, behavioral issues that require sustained commitment. This signals something women are desperately screening for. Can you handle responsibility when it's hard and thankless? Evolutionary psychologist Dr. David Buss found that women prioritize signals of investment and commitment because ancestral survival depended on partner reliability. In modern terms, this translates to, will you still show up when things aren't fun anymore? Will you handle responsibility even when nobody's applauding? The dog test answers this immediately. Here's how it works in practice. When a woman sees you've committed to a rescue dog, she sees evidence you can commit to something difficult. When she sees you get up early to walk your dog even when you're tired, she sees reliability. When she sees you spend money on vet bills instead of another gadget for yourself, she sees priorities. These aren't abstract qualities. They're concrete proof. And most importantly, animals reveal how you handle dependence. A dog needs you. It can't feed itself, walk itself, or care for itself. How you respond to that dependence is a direct preview of how you'll respond when a partner is vulnerable, sick, or needs support. I learned this the hard way. Years ago, I was dating someone who had a cat with diabetes. It needed insulin shots twice a day, exact times, no exceptions. I thought it was excessive. I suggested boarding it when we wanted to travel. She broke up with me a month later. She told me that my annoyance at her cat's needs made her realize I'd resent any real dependence. She was right. I wasn't ready to be responsible for anything that required actual sacrifice. Fast forward 5 years. I adopted a senior dog with arthritis. He needed medication, special food, couldn't be left alone for long. It completely changed my schedule and priorities. The woman I'm with now told me that watching me care for him, cancel plans when he was having a bad day, research treatments, was what made her certain about me. Not my career, not my hobbies, my willingness to be inconvenienced by something I loved. Here's how to apply this. If you don't have a pet, consider whether you're ready for one. Not as a prop, but as a genuine commitment. Can you handle the responsibility? If not, that's useful information about where you are in life. If you do have a pet, pay attention to how you talk about it. Do you complain about the inconvenience? Or do you frame it as a valued responsibility? Your language reveals your mindset. If you're dating someone with a pet, how you treat their animal is a test you're actively taking. Dismissiveness fails. Annoyance fails. Genuine care and interest passes. When my friend Chris first met Sarah's aging golden retriever, he sat on the floor with her for 20 minutes, just petting her gently. Sarah later said that was the moment she knew he was different. Most guys ignored the dog or gave it a quick pat. Chris treated her like she mattered. And that brings us to the third and most powerful signal, Signal 3. Gentleness as strength. This is the trait that separates men women date from men they marry. Our culture teaches men that gentleness is weakness, that you need to be hard, tough, dominant. But the truth is the opposite. Gentleness with the vulnerable is one of the highest forms of strength. It takes more control to be gentle than to be rough, more confidence to be soft than to be hard. When a woman sees you being gentle with an animal, she's seeing controlled strength. She's seeing a man who's secure enough to be tender. Neuroscientist Dr. Luann Brizendine, who wrote The Female Brain, explains that women are biologically attuned to signals of protective but non-threatening male behavior. Gentleness with animals hits this target perfectly. It shows you're capable of care without aggression. Here's what this looks like in practice. A man who can handle a frightened dog with calm patience. A man who doesn't yell when a pet makes a mess, but cleans it up without drama. A man who speaks softly to animals, gets down to their level, respects their fear. This translates directly to how you'll handle conflict, stress, and vulnerability in a relationship. Women are watching. When Chris's dog got sick last year and had to be put down, Sarah told me she watched him cry, hold that dog, and tell her she was a good girl as she went to sleep. She said that moment of gentle grief made her more certain about marrying him than anything else. He wasn't afraid to be tender. He wasn't performing masculinity. He was just loving something fully, even in loss. That's the man women want to build a life with. Here's how to develop this. Practice gentleness deliberately. When you interact with animals, slow down. Get on their level. Speak quietly. Let them come to you. Notice when you're rushing or being rough. Catch yourself. Adjust. This builds the neural pathways of gentleness. Understand that tenderness and strength aren't opposites. The strongest men I know are the gentlest with those who are vulnerable. It takes enormous self-control and confidence. When you combine all three signals, empathy under pressure, responsibility without recognition, and gentleness as strength, you become the kind of man high-quality women actively seek. Not because you're performing attraction, but because you've become genuinely attractive at the character level. This is how men succeed with exceptional women, not by faking it, by becoming it. The dog test doesn't lie, and the women who matter most are always watching. Drop a comment. Which signal resonates most with you? Number 1, empathy under pressure. Number 2, responsibility without recognition. Or number 3, gentleness as strength. And have you ever seen the dog test play out in real life? Well, that's it. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please be sure to give it a like and maybe even subscribe to Deeper Dudes. And hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. It all helps the channel more than you know, and it also tells us that we should make more content like this. We post videos every other day that tackle real challenges men face. Remember, struggling doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. The fact that you took time to watch this means you're ready for something better. Thanks again for watching and for checking out all the amazing products in the description below. They could jumpstart your healing journey. Catch you in the next one, Deeper Dudes. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, keep thriving.